Hello everybody, Tom here from Healthy Futures. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was the first ever episode of Healthy Futures TV. This is a show where every single week we interview a different expert from around the world of PE, school sport and wellbeing. They will share with you their good practice and share their expertise to help support you in your delivery. So this week we are joined by Elle and Rebecca from Creative Minds, and we discuss all things performing arts. They share with us some of the common barriers you might face when delivering performing arts and how to overcome them. They also share with us how simple it is to deliver and structure any single performing arts lesson. And what I love most about this episode is we go into great detail about the cross-curricular benefits of performing arts, how to link it to topic, how to link it to wellbeing. And this is so important given the current climate we find ourselves in. I hope you enjoy the episode and I hope you learn something new. So let's get started. So good morning. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us. Before we do get started and we start talking about all things performing arts, could you very quickly just tell us a little bit about yourselves and who you are, really?
Yeah, shall I go first?
Yeah, go on, Elle, you can go first.
So, I'm Elle. I used to be a primary school teacher. I've also taught dance at secondary school. From there, I became a dance consultant for an education company where I would help teachers and coaches delivering dance in schools. Curriculum dance, so we're not talking after school dance where we're teaching a street dance. It's actual incorporating a topic. So yeah, that's me.
Good.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I am also a qualified teacher. So I've done a PGC in drama for secondary. So I taught 5-6 years in secondary school. Before that, I was a performing arts practitioner in primary schools, so delivering primary school workshops all throughout. I used to live in London and Bristol, and I now live in Suffolk. So working, with primary and secondary age. Also a consultant for an education company, so also training staff in performing arts, particularly drama, and supporting schools in how to improve their performing arts provision. Yeah.
Fantastic. So you guys have obviously both work as consultants and you've come together to create Creative Minds. That's correct?
Yeah, so we both met at the same company. I was the dance lead, Rebecca was the drama lead, and we've brought ourselves together to combine forces. So we're a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, I don't. And so what does Creative Minds do? How do you get involved? Like schools buy into the service, is that right?
Yeah, so we our ideas are that performing arts is all about creative learning. So creative learning being a focus on dance and drama, that's our background. And yeah, we work with schools, we work with businesses who also work with schools, so it can sort of be any avenue really. We offer CPD, so it will be about looking at upskilling teachers or whoever it is that needs upskilling, related to performing arts delivery, the skills, creative learning, just a different approach to how to engage with children and using dance and drama skills.
Yeah.
We also offer pupil workshops, a range of those from early years all the way up to sixth form really, but obviously focusing probably mainly on primary school. And they could be enrichment days, looking at literacy, maths. They could be linked to the curriculum, so supporting the topics that schools are already delivering. And our secondary workshops, we look at things like employability, mindset, body image. So there's a real range of topics, and they're bespoke, so we can suit them to what the school's needs are, what the children's needs are. So that's how we work.
No, it's and I think just from speaking to you two, I think, and we'll go about this later on, but just how cross-curricular performing arts is as well. I suppose before speaking to you, so I didn't realise the amount of opportunity that is available within performing arts to, like you say, link to wellbeing, link to topic and things like that. And we'll discuss it a bit later on, but yeah, I think it's definitely an avenue. As a coach, as a teacher, I definitely want to upskill myself within as we move forward, especially the current climate with that we're finding ourselves.
Yeah, it's a really big highlight for us when people like yourself go, wow, I didn't realise that, when they're taken aback by it and they don't realise how impactful performing arts can be. to everyone.
No, definitely. And like I say, we'll go on later on, but from when I'm speaking to you, but how the way you describe how simple it is as well to deliver. I think when I've delivered dance in the past, someone said to me, deliver drama, I would not have known where to start.
Yeah.
And the dance session I've delivered in the past, I think I'm like Ashley Banjo from Diversity, and I'm trying to get everything to go as it is. And I think, and then let's speak to you. Yeah, exactly.
And this is what we wanted to sort of get across, that you don't have to be a dance teacher or have been on the stage. It's really movement rather than dance, and it's creative learning. It's a different way of getting the kids up and about rather than sitting in the desks. It's just approaching something from a different way, and also giving the teachers that confidence that a lot of them might, they've all got their own background of where they come from, whether it be history or geography or maths or whatever, and a lot of them are told to go and deliver something practically, and they don't know. So our job is to sort of support them and upskill them and give them ideas and keep it really simple. You don't have to have that background at all to be able to do it.
No, definitely. Like I said, the teachers have got a teaching degree. They can teach, they can work with children. So I think when I go and work with schools, I think don't change what you do in the classroom. It's not that different in the outdoor. The way you manage behaviour, the way you track progress, the way you differentiate, they're all very, very similar. So it's not this foreign alien subject that we're all very scared of it.
If anything, you're empowering them and you're actually giving them freedom. You're going like, here's some ideas, here's some tools. Now go and teach. Do it.
Yeah.
But one of our biggest accomplishments was when we were teaching like ex-footballers to do dance and drama. We were just discussing this before, weren't we, Rebecca? And they were like, oh no, I'm not doing it. And actually, they loved it, absolutely loved it. And now they're off delivering it as well. Yeah,
definitely. I can imagine that though, because it's so different to teaching football or engaging games. And have that creativity as well. It's
this whole misconception that everyone thinks that to do drama or dance is, drama is, let's do the nativity play at Christmas time, or let's just do, dance club in street dance. And those are the sort of the main two things that people go, I don't know how to do those. But actually, if you can sort of guide people and steer people and get them to understand that actually it's not those things at all, and you don't have to have a background in performing arts. It's, with really simple strategies and really simple tools, you can deliver it about anything at all. So definitely. So when we do talk about performing arts, just so everyone is on the same page, we mean what do we mean by performing arts, I suppose? So
it's a creative activity. In the forms of dance and drama. That's it, simply.
Yeah.
What performing arts is. And, it can be in front of an audience, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It doesn't have to lead up to a big show at the end. It can do, but it could just be in pairs to each other, or it could just be to the coach or the teacher, or it could just be from anyway, it doesn't have to be a big, huge performance. And I think that's another thing that people think about performing arts. I'm going to have to put on a big show. You actually don't. You can do. I love to put on shows.
You hide it well. I think again, when I deliver dance, I've started, right, week 1 is this, week 6, it's showtime, it's Britain's Got Talent, this is what we've got, we're going full out, we've got lights, we've got everything. Whereas actually, again, when we've got to talk about the structure and the way you guys deliver it, it's so simple. It's more benefits to the kids as well, really, I think, which is ultimately what we all want.
Exactly, and you'll get the children who would rather, crawl under a stone than have to perform to people, and that puts them off straight away.
Definitely.
But having said that, having something to lead up to is also nice for them as well. So it could be a performance just to an iPad that they can watch back themselves.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways they can show what they're creative.
So, we spoke then about some children who just are so scared, I think, of the thought of dance. What are the barriers, would you say, when you're delivering performing arts? Is it, without being said, is it boys, would you say, or is it just no real? I think it's that word, isn't it? Dance.
People go, no, I don't want to do that. Even as adults and the kids, they just go, oh no, I don't want to do dance. So I think it's just changing the way that it's maybe worded. It doesn't even have to be dance and drama or performing arts. It can be movement or creative learning, and it's just changing what those words mean to everybody. And I think what we try and do in our CPD with the schools is that we try and embed it in the whole school ethos, really, that it's not just, right, we're now going to do dance, we're now going to do drama. It's every aspect of the way that the school are sort of delivering. Even if it's in an assembly or if it's in the, some things they do at lunchtime, it can be, it's throughout the entire school, so that when it comes to these, breaking it down into a topic or a subject, it's not a scary thing, that they're doing it without realising it. I think that's the key thing with the
definitely. Yeah. I think week one, you touched on boys there, especially year 5, 6 boys. I've got one as well. They'll come in and I'm like, oh, I'm not dancing. And then I just say to them, okay, we're not going to dance. We're just going to move. Is that all right? And they're like, yeah, okay. And then so for example, if we're doing the Romans or the Spartans, they'll bring that alive by having a battle. They've got a weapon. They're loving it. It's not what they think it's going to be. And that's when, things start to change. And they're actually the ones who are, oh, what are we doing next week? What we're doing the week after? Like, they're so enthusiastic. Because you've straight away just changed what they thought was going to happen.
Yeah. It's like we said then, we wanted Rebecca about changing the word, just changing that word. Like, we're not doing dance today, we'll be doing creative learning. So their mindset is straight away, I'm not dancing, it's dancing it for boys. It's going into that. And I think there is still potential that mindset, but I think things like TikTok, I've been going to schools recently, and things like TikTok, the boys they love it. I think stuff like that must surely help break down that barrier. Yeah. That is.
It's finding things that, like you just said, Elle, like topics that they enjoy, and it's just expanding those. It doesn't, a dance doesn't have to be a street dance. Let's all copy the teacher, choreographed. Everyone's doing it, and it's all in that way. It's who's the best and who can do it the best. Where it's not, if you move that aside and you're using a topic and you're learning about a topic, it doesn't matter whether you can do it or not. It's about involvement and it's about being, inclusive. And that's where our workshops are based around. As long as everyone's involved in some way, it doesn't matter how good they are.
It's definitely so important, isn't it? Sorry,
no, I was just going to say, touching upon, you might get the people who do dance outside of school and they're amazing and they're like, oh, well, I don't just want to do movement, I want to show how great I am. But everybody can. So it's so diverse, the lesson, where everybody's achieving at different levels. So even if they don't know anything about canon, unison, any of the, the terminology, they're still achieving, as well as the people who have been dancing since they were born, so everybody in that room is achieving.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said about linking it to interest, I think that's so important, especially this, to find out what the group's engaged with and what their interests are, and can we design, not even just with performing arts, but I think lessons outside, we might be lessons. Can you link it to the current interests of the children, especially those children who are struggling to be engaged in the lesson, things like that. It's just massive, isn't it? And it really, really helps. So, I mean, we spoke obviously about drama and dance within performing arts. Obviously, PE is under the PE curriculum, but from the way you guys obviously talk about it, the way you deliver dance, it is much more creative than just, I mean, when I watch dance, and the way I deliver dance, to be honest with you, is someone at the front, copying movements, then the class copy, that creativity actually goes out the window, really, when dance is delivered in that particular way. So when you talk about dance, you definitely view it more as the performing arts as opposed to part of the PE curriculum, would you say?
Yeah, so the reason why we're called Creative Minds is because it's creative.
Yeah.
So, for example, it's probably not as physical, and they're probably not getting out of breath, and it's probably not more active, but it's more mental. So they're mentally exercising.
Yeah.
So they might not, so when you think about PE, you think about, putting your PE kit on and getting sweaty. Well, no, they're not doing that, but they are using the minds, which is so, just as important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think at the moment, more so than ever, about thinking about the way PE lessons are designed and delivered to not just target the physical, can they think about the different learning domains? And like I said, the creativity aspect within the dance is so important and can be achieved so easily, really, especially the way it is delivered. So I suppose then, talking about if you had to go into a school, you've got a sports coach who is maybe a bit apprehensive about delivering dance, doesn't necessarily think performing arts, and drama in particular is going to progress their class. What would you say the benefits of performing arts are over, or not necessarily over, but that the benefits of performing arts compared to necessarily the traditional PE lesson? What is achieved in performing arts that maybe isn't achieved in other subjects?
I guess it's looking at the different learning styles. I suppose when you're up on your feet and you're being creative, even if you're sitting in small groups working, you're using a different learning style. So you're thinking about the auditory, kinesthetic, the visual, you're using all of those learning styles in one go. And as we all know, we all learn in different ways. So you're already ticking the boxes of the different of children and the way that they learn. And hopefully within that lesson, you're going to be able to tick one of the boxes of how each child learns. You've also got the fact that they can work in different sorts of groups. So you've got pairs, individual, you could do a whole group ensemble thing. There's all sorts of different ways that you can create the lessons and the way the lessons can be delivered. So you've got that aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely. No, so from when you, obviously with the workshops you deliver and the CPD you deliver into schools, what do you think the biggest barriers are from a teacher or a coach point of view as to why performing arts isn't delivered necessarily to the best standard it could be?
I think we've probably touched on this as we've been talking. That it's the misconceptions, it's the prejudgments of, oh, I'm going to have to stand at the front and move and everyone's going to watch me. That's the barrier straight away. It's the way people think about dance and drama. That's the barrier. Yeah. So as soon as they actually, once we've been in a school and we've changed their mindset in a 10-minute conversation, then they're open then, and it's like, wow, show my staff how you do this, because I want everybody to do it.
And it's ideas, isn't it? What do you do? People don't know what to do in a dance and drama lesson, and I think it's by giving them a few ideas, whether it be a warm-up game or something that leads into an activity. Those ideas can be then differentiated to a different age group, a different topic. The ideas are all very basic. There's nothing complex about them. Obviously, with that comes various terminology that come with dance and drama, but the underlying, the structure of a lesson is very, very simple. It's just giving them ideas and giving them things that they can do and take away to another lesson.
And it's not for it's all right. It's not just for full lessons. You can take out groups, booster groups, children who are struggling with English as a second language, or children who have behavioural needs, or children who have emotional needs. You can use dance and drama as a tool across everyone, across the whole school. So it's not just it doesn't have to be a whole class. It can just be groups of children. Even phonics in early years. Bring phonics alive, make it fun. Children who are struggling, or even children who are achieving really well and need more of a challenge. The overachievers, they can reach as well. So like everybody.
No, and like you said there at the start, Elle, about a 10-minute conversation. I mean, the first time I spoke to you and you talked me through the way you deliver a dance lesson, I was like, I can't believe I've been delivering dance the way I've been delivering it. It was like, I've been making, like I said at the start, making it so harder for myself almost. And like you said about, it's almost, and we'll talk about this next, putting it back onto the children as opposed to, and at the front, it puts all eyes on you, 30 eyes on me. Can I dance? I'm going to be judged. Whereas the way you're, I get judged very poorly when I'm doing it. Whereas we'll talk about next, it puts it back onto the children for them to be doing the movement.
We were talking about this earlier, that we were saying that actually we don't give the children enough credit, really. They have so many ideas. My daughter's nearly 6 and got such an amazing imagination, and actually given them a chance, they can create something themselves. They don't always need to be guided or directed. They need to just be guided. So you don't have to create it. They actually want to go away and do it themselves with a little bit of focus. So letting them do that, and that makes it easier for us. It's less work for
you create the environment and then let them go off. I've taught, say for example, I've taught space probably about 500 times to so many different year groups, and I'm not joking, each time they come up with something different. I'm like, well, I've never seen that before. They're so creative and they blow me away, and it's just and then they feel so much achievement and success from it.
And they're likely to remember it as well. They're going to remember that where the planets are all positioned because they were physically Jupiter or whatever, and they're going to remember it, and that sense of achievement that you just said, they can achieve even if they aren't the best in the class. They're not the best dancer, but they've taken part, they've achieved, they've learned something, and that's what it's all about. It
really is inclusive, isn't it, really, for everyone?
It's very inclusive.
Okay, so as we do, so we spoke obviously a lot about the benefits, and let's talk about how would you guys, if you were going to structure a lesson, you just said space there, how would you structure a performing arts lesson, your standard lesson?
Yeah, so I'll just talk through just the sections simply. So first, just like any other lesson, you'd start with an objective. You'd let them know what's going on, so we have 2 objectives. One's all about the topic. So today we're learning about the planets, the features of the planets, what they're made of, where they're positioned, whatever. And then our second objective would be something to do with dance or drama. So we're going to learn the planets through using canon, or we're going to learn the planets through using physical theatre. So we'd have one about the topic and one about the actual terminology, dance or drama. So they're learning 2 things in that lesson. Then we'd go on to a starter or a game, some kind of activity that's linked to the topic, something fun that engages the children straight away. So they're raring to go. Then from there, we'd use a stimulus. That's what you give the children to get their juices flowing, to get them thinking. So it could be a book, a poem, it could be a picture, a video, a piece of music. And then from there, that's when you allow them to create. So in groups, pairs, solo, anything, now create from your stimulus, create a piece of work. And then after that, the last thing, just like in any lesson, you do a plenary. So you discuss, you show, you share, you play.
So would every lesson you deliver link back to a topic that's going on in the class?
Well, it doesn't have to be a topic that's going on in a class, as we said before. It can be bespoke, so it could be about, it could be something completely different, like anti-bullying week, or whatever's going on, Black History, whatever the school has asked us to do. But the lesson would always have a focused topic. It'd have a theme almost, if you like. It wouldn't just be a dance lesson. It'd have a theme to a topic or an aspect, like you say. Something
and within
like well-being.
And within that, as you progress through the years, you would introduce new terminology, new words. So as by the time they get to year 6, they know what canon and unison is. They know what a freeze frame is. They know what physical theatre is. But they're not just doing those standalone things. They are embedding them within their learning and within the topic. So they're learning about the Romans, but they're also learning about dance and drama techniques and skills as well. So it's sort of progressive all through.
And there's so much research at the moment around active learning and about how incorporating maths and English, for example, into physical activity and the benefits around that in terms of the cognitive and their memory and the ability to recall that information. So to be able to link that back to their topic or to a different aspect of well-being or whatever it might be, must be really, really effective for the children's development.
I think one of the main benefits, I'm not sure we touched upon it, is how cross-curricular dance and drama actually is. And in every single lesson, there will be maths, English, PHSE, there will be geography, science, that there will, and they'll be doing it without knowing that they're doing it, which is even better,
Yeah, definitely. I think I always try and make my lessons cross-curricular. And it's a lot easier, talking from a PE lesson, it's a lot easier to do so with Key Stage 1. Making, like you say, a cone can be a planet or whatever. But sometimes when I'm doing it with Key Stage 2, it can be a bit forced. And you never want cross-curricular to be forced into it for the sake of it. Whereas the way you're describing it, it just flows so nicely and almost makes it easier because it gives you that theme, it gives you that creativity, it gives them a starting block, right? We're doing space, we're doing the Romans, we're doing the war, whatever it might be, to then go off and create their own routine.
The way that we look at it as it's a continuation of the learning from the classroom or wherever. It's not it's not anything standalone. It is right. You're doing this already. Let's just continue that learning and let's progress that learning. And this is why our workshops and things can come in at any point. It could be at the start of a topic. So let's see what your knowledge is. Let's see what you know about space. It doesn't matter if you don't know anything. Or it could come in partway through. Just let's see how we're doing. Or at the end, so that it can fit in any stage, just as a bit of a continuation and a bit of just to support that learning as well and see. We said different children learn in different ways, and it's just supporting that learning.
Definitely. It's funny you should say that actually, Rebecca, because I remember going into a school once and I was all set and ready to teach ancient Greece. And I stood at the front and I said, right, we're now learning ancient Greece. We did this last term. I was like, oh no. But actually, it was even better because although they'd done it last term, there were still things they hadn't quite got or they hadn't quite understood. And the teacher was like, wow, let's say Sarah was so disengaged with it last term, but now she's like, you know, absolutely loving it, and she's reeling off all the gods and goddesses, and yeah, so it, you know, it's just a different way of learning. It's
definitely. I think you said there, Rebecca, about a child's more likely to remember they're more likely to remember Jupiter when they've been Jupiter and they've been dancing around as Jupiter. So it can only help that learning really as well.
Yeah.
So obviously the structure, the starter, well, after the objectives, sorry, and then we talked about the stimulus. So how would that work then in a lesson? How would you show them it? Would they read it, or could you tell us a little bit more about that aspect of it?
Bit of a mixture, really. It depends what the topic was and what the stimulus was. So, you know, you could be doing something like the below, for example. So the stimulus is the topic in a sense, because the stimulus is the book. And it could be that your first lesson, let's read the book. It's a short book. We look at the pictures, it's visual, but then you use elements of that stimulus, of that book, throughout the lesson. So it might be that you photocopy pictures of it, or you find a piece of music that's related to it. So it can be a bit of a mixture, and it can come in any way. Or it could be that you are looking at poetry, for example. So again, you're looking at a range of different poets or poetry. So there's not really one answer for that. I guess it depends on what the approach is and what the topic is. But then also any stimulus can fit with any topic as well. So, you know, you could be doing Victorians and you look at some pictures of Victorian England or workhouse or anything like that, then also take that into Oliver Twist. So there's sort of a crossover with
so many different ways you can go, isn't there, really?
Yeah, there is, and obviously it depends on the age of the children as well. So you're not going to get the younger children reading, but the older ones, they can read the poems themselves. They can read it out loud, you know, or they can read from the board. Videos can be used across the board. So you can use any stimulus with any age group, and you can use them in a range of ways.
And I think as well, stimulus can be things as well, like bits of material, bits of, you know, old boxes or bits of costume, anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, a picture or a poem or a piece of music. It can be anything that they can use to be creative with and use those ideas to stimulate what they're going to do with it. So
yeah. So I also wrote down, which we hadn't said, it's multisensory as well. So as we were talking about props, it can be just something that you can feel and talk about how it feels. Is it sharp? Is it spiky? Is it soft? Is it gentle? You know, so it's multisensory. So you're using all your senses as well, which reaches lots of children, especially children with special needs as well.
Yeah, again, we've spoken a lot about inclusion, haven't we, I suppose, with performing arts. And the minute you said the sensory then, and then thinking about those children who might have, you know, be on SN or that will definitely appeal to them as opposed to copying actions at the front of the classroom.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got a stimulus, we've read the book, we've watched the video. Then the next step is to then create. How would that look? What would that look like in practice?
I guess with that, it would be thinking about what skills or techniques that you're wanting to focus on. Depending on the age, will be, you know, what skills you're wanting to use. And it could be anything. Again, it could be, you know, you could be like, this group we haven't done any paired work, so let's focus on paired work. And it's giving them a bit of direction. So it might be that you're creating something in a pair based on what you've seen or what you've read or what you've thought about it. And again, giving them time to go and be creative, to go away and have a look at stuff. You know, work together as a whole ensemble and let's create something. So again, it depends on what you've done. I don't think there's any one answer. It's where you want your lesson to progress to and what you want them to learn. And as Elle said earlier, it doesn't have to be working towards a performance. It could be that they perform in their pairs for 30 seconds, or it could be, let's all work towards a performance that we show at the end. So I think as long as the kids are having a chance to reflect and talk about it and give their ideas and be involved, the lesson can go in any direction really. And you go with what they're doing and how they're going with the lesson. If it goes off on a tangent, go off on a tangent with them. It's and as we all know, lessons don't go to plan. And I think you just go with what the kids are doing.
And there's so much freedom in there for the children to be creative. And I suppose it will depend on, once you've been with that class, you'll know what stimulus works. You'll know what that class necessarily work with. You'll know how they respond. It might be actually, you know, large, small groups don't work with this class. It needs to be individual at the moment. It needs to be pairs, and we'll work up to that. So I suppose it is a bit bespoke to the individual school and class.
Yes and no. Because I've been in schools and I've had teachers say, oh, don't have them working together and don't have them in a group. But actually, when they're doing something like this, that's creative. That's not forced. They work brilliantly together. They bounce off each other. But a big part of this is that it's social. So each week we want people to work with different people. So we'll be in pairs one week, then we'll be in small groups, then we'll be on our own. Because sometimes people hide behind other people and you want them to be, the ones. Yeah. And then large groups and then the whole group, So each week you're having a different social element to it. And from a create point of view, it's probably the most important part of the lesson. You've got your stimulus and now it's time to create. So that's where you should give them the most amount of time to step back as the teacher, as the coach, and just let them get on with it. Obviously, you're going to be there to support and advise.
And including inputs and things like that. But that was my next question. Really, that's the main part of the lesson. So linking it to a P lesson, that's the bit where you're working on your skill. You might work on your passing, your dribbling. The create part of the lesson is definitely the main part of the lesson where the learning takes place, really, the creativity, the teamwork, or whatever it is you're necessarily focused on.
And they're focusing on, and you're always referring to the dance and drama techniques. You're not drumming them home all the time, but you're referring to them and they're part of the language of the classroom. We're going to be, you need to make sure there's a freeze frame in your piece of work, or, can you move in unison in this piece? And it's just including that language so that it's sort of second nature to them. They know what those words are, that terminology, as they progress up the school.
So you'll keep referring back to the objective, just like you would in any lesson, and picking up on that. So if I'm walking around and I see some amazing work with facial expressions, I'll stop the class and say, guys, can you stand up, show everyone what you've been doing, because you're praising good work. Because obviously you still want to improve. Everybody wants to improve. And then the children can give feedback and then we'll carry on. So you're picking out children who are doing the objective, just like you would in any lesson. It
goes back to what we said at the very start, doesn't it, about teachers being able to teach and being able to coach, being able to coach. The principles are exactly the same. If you saw someone doing something great in maths, or if you saw someone doing something great in football, you'd pick it out and you show the class. It's exactly the same. It's no different.
This is it. It's what we've just spoken about in these lessons. There's nothing in there that, I hope you agree, Tom, that there's, you don't have to be a performing arts person. You don't have to been on the stage or have done dance all your life. You've got the basic skill how to teach, and we can provide some ideas and some options and some topics. I think that's a lot of people struggle of, what can I do? And you've got those basics, then you can go and you can let the children lead. You can work with them. It's a collaborative thing, and that it should be fun as well. It doesn't matter if your structure sort of changes slightly, as long as you're referring to your objectives and what you want the children to learn. Have fun with it.
No,
exactly. And I think what the lesson plan actually allows you to do, you know what it's like in schools. You might have the hall and then all of a sudden there's an emergency assembly in 10 minutes. So you've got to pick out a section of that lesson plan that you think is going to be the most effective, and you can just pick out the stimulus, do the creative part, and there we go. So you can pick out sections of the lesson plan if you're running out of time.
Yeah,
I think it's important what you just said as well. You don't have to, a performing arts lesson does not have to be in the hall or a big space. You can do it in the classroom, move some tables to the side. You can still use, and I think a lot of people worry, I haven't got a big classroom. It doesn't matter. The kids can move around as much as they're able to in the space that you've got.
I think that's really important at the moment as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Inside, you can do it in a library, in a classroom, outside. You actually can do it anywhere, and you don't, if you're really struggling, you don't actually have to get up. You could actually do it.
Definitely.
No, definitely. You said there at the very start, Rebecca, about how you don't have to be professional. The way dance, I suppose, is traditionally taught as someone at the front of the class, you need to be more professional doing that way of creating a routine beforehand and then showing the children, whereas this way, I've said lots of times throughout this, is putting it back on the children, letting them be creative, letting them show you what they can do, really.
Yeah.
But obviously under the guidance of the topic and the last objective. It's such a simple but effective way of doing things, really. And I'm, like I say, I'm surprised I've delivered dance the way I've delivered it for so long when I listen to you guys talk about it, really. So yeah, I suppose we spoke a lot about it being cross-curricular, which is my next question, but I think we've covered that quite a lot throughout. I think that's the beauty of it all, really, is just of how you can link it to wellbeing, you can link it to the topic. And I suppose at the current climate where we are at the moment, with the children being lots of other things going on in their lives, whether they come out of lockdown and things like that. How do you envisage performing arts supporting that, really? Supporting the transition back, but also you just said then about the classroom, it can be delivered in the classroom. Me as a PE teacher at the moment, my biggest fear is when it rains. What do I do when it rains? I can't go in the hall. What do? I can't take them outside. Well, I've got a coat, I'm all right, but can you go outside? I think that's at the moment my biggest
worry about.
Yeah, coming peak and sitting it wet all day, they're moaning at me, so I can't win. So so how do you envisage performing arts, I suppose, supporting schools with that transition back into normality, I suppose?
Well, talking about well-being that you brought up before, the connection between performing arts and well-being is actually just so clear to see. It's physical, so the children are actively, moving and being physical. So that's physical well-being. Intellectual, they're learning. They're learning the topic, they're learning the theme. It's emotional. So each child, as we've spoken before, has a sense of achievement. They feel success. So that's emotional well-being. And then obviously social, you've got your social well-being, because like we said before, that they're having the opportunity to work with different people in different groups, in different social groups. So that's how performing arts really easily incorporates well-being. It covers, all the aspects of well-being.
I think that's an important one as well, like you mentioned there, about working in groups, especially at the moment. They've probably been on their own or been just with their family for, 6 months, 7 months now. Yeah. So to be able to integrate back with their friends in a fun and just, I think fun at the moment is just such a, everything I'm doing in school, is it fun? Is it fun? They've had no fun for so long. Yeah. And being able to link that back and play with their friends in a fun and structured way.
That's it, isn't it? They just want to play with their friends. And one of the workshops that we offer at the minute is all to do with mental health and emotional resilience. And it's like finding pathways for them to learn to love learning again. It's, most children love going to school, particularly at primary. And I think it's getting them back into that it's, why did we like school before? Oh, this is why. And it's just finding those roots and the topics and create, like you say, making it fun, making it creative. And then they go, this is why we want to be here. And definitely. And without knowing it as well, I think you said that at the very start of without knowing it, they think they're playing with their friends, but actually we're linking it back to the Romans, we're linking it back to whatever else our theme is.
Exactly, learning without knowing, because obviously when they were homeschooled, I know my son felt very forced to learn, as much as I tried to make it fun for him. So they're learning, but in a fun, as we say, this the fun word, a fun, creative way. So it's not forced, it's just flowing.
Yeah, definitely.
Part of what they do at school, it's just part of the everyday, and I think that's really important for schools.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially at the moment with all the things going on. They might not be able to use the hall, they can't get changed, whereas it sort of fits in well with all the things going on at the moment, especially like I say, then linking it back to well-being and the achievements that can be made through that. Yeah. Through that, it's really important at the moment, I think.
Yeah, so with helping schools after lockdown, with the support, we obviously offer online training as well. So we don't have to come into schools, we can learn online. We also offer social distancing lesson plans. So we show them how to teach dance and drama, but by social distancing too.
Yeah.
Get the children all learning creatively, but in a safe way.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Okay, so I suppose to finish us off then. Last question. If you've got a sports coach or a teacher, never delivered performing arts ever or danced, really struggling, really nervous. If you could give them 5 tips to make them feel comfortable or confident, what would they be? I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit there, but no easy questions here.
You have turns each.
Yeah, go on. You can do one each.
I think number 1 is keep it simple. Keep everything simple. Don't overcomplicate everything. Don't worry about creating, a performance, this big performance at the end. Keep it really simple and have a focus of what it is that you're wanting to achieve, or a topic.
Yeah, so, keep it simple, definitely.
Yeah. I'd say have an interesting stimulus ready to provide. So whether that be a poem, a video, a picture, or a piece of music, just have a stimulus that links to the topic. Just have one ready.
Yeah, keep it simple, stimulus. Have we got a third one?
I can't remember what we said now. I didn't write them down.
Have an activity or a game as well in your back pocket, because that engages the children straight away. You know, we all know that children love to play a game. Usually it's at the end of a lesson as a reward. Well, actually, we have it at the beginning of the lesson to engage them and to get them.
During your start, I don't think we touched upon that actually much, but the way I deliver PE, and the minute one, before I've done any lesson objective, I go into a game, straight a fun game.
Yeah.
It's fun, it sets the tone. They know actually today's going to be a fun lesson because I've had fun now. Before I sit them down and do any learning objective, anything, straight into a game.
Whatever should happen beforehand, you can forget about it.
Yeah.
It's a different bubble now.
I think that's what you don't want. I think when you're going in, especially going in just for 1 hour or picking up a class, is issues that have gone on in the last lesson carrying over into your lesson. No matter a bad lesson with a teacher or whatever. I think starting that with a fun game, I think that's just a good rule, just generally, really.
Yeah. So is that 3?
That's 3. 2 more.
That was 3. And I think as well, what we've sort of said about, as an individual, as a teacher, be kind to yourself. You don't have to be a performing arts teacher. You don't have to dance. You don't have to perform. You're not there to perform for the children. And I think that's a lot of, you just said earlier, Tom, you stood at the front and you felt like you had to do a dance routine. You don't need to do that. You're not there to perform. You're there to support their learning and guide their learning using creative learning approaches.
Yeah, it's about the children at the end of the day. It's about their development. It's about their progress. It's not about how good I am as a dancer. It's all about them, which is very low.
So just sort of give yourself a bit of a break, really. Don't.
Exactly.
No, I like that one. I think that's a good one.
And then I think that leads really nicely into leave time to allow the children to create.
Yeah.
Leave that time. That is precious time. Because when I used to observe coaches or teachers, sometimes they feel, especially if they're being observed, they've got to overteach or overcoach, and actually step back and allow the children to create. That's really important.
No, definitely.
I think a lot of lessons, if kids are being noisy, it gives the impression that they're not learning, but actually it's all right in a creative learning environment to be talking to one another. Obviously, there's a difference between, not focusing and not being engaged.
Yeah. Hanging up at windows.
Yeah, exactly. To being chatting and being excited and being creative and moving, especially when you've got music playing or you've got, you're moving. And I think there's a big difference, like Elle said, letting them have that time to do it, because kids don't want to be rushed. They want to explore as well.
Yeah, I think if you was to literally just walk into a performing arts lesson, that's what you'd probably see, especially if it was in the creative section. You'd hear
the Spartans.
They're all having a fight. No, because they're enthusiastic. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing that they're actually excited about the Romans or the Victorians?
Yeah, I think that's the thing with anything indoor. I mean, I go into some schools and it's in your hall, it's quiet, but actually you don't want it quiet. Well, like I said, it's that fine line, but we'd much rather walk into a hall with children talking to each other and having fun as opposed to running around in silence. It just looks weird to me.
Yeah.
And then there is that balance, like you say, of them shouting at each other and that going past it. But again, I think taking it the other way is also equally as wrong, really, or unrealistic as well. It's just not going to happen.
I think, it's for teachers not to be worried about that. And I think as long as, this is the thing, changing the main mindset of the whole school, that it's okay for lessons to be like that, for the head teacher to walk in and be like, what is going on here? It's okay. It's okay. And if the head teacher's on board with that and the school's on board with that, they're going to understand that these kind of lessons are happening and that they are learning and that they're progressing. Because
I think sometimes when you do walk into a lesson that is maybe, because it's not in a classroom, it's less structured into any P lesson, any performing arts lesson, you might walk in for 5 minutes and think, what is going on here? But actually, if you've got trust in that educator and trust in that, then the delivery, and I think that goes to wider schools as well, really trusting teachers to do what they do best, really.
Yeah, and you could say, come back in 15 minutes and see what they've created.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
exactly. But I think we spoke about it throughout, though, and I think apart from the stimulus, the top 5 tips, a lot of them would be tips you'd deliver to any P lesson to keep it simple, to have a fun start. And I think that's what I've really want to get home to people watching, really, is just how translatable it is from a normal P lesson, and how I don't oversimplify it, because it is still a skill, but if you can teach and you can deliver, then it's nothing to be scared of, it's nothing to be worried about, and it's nothing to avoid.
No.
Really.
And that's what our role is. You know, that's why we wanted to create this business, so that we could support teachers. We've both been teachers, and we've learned those skills, and we've got those qualifications, and we know that these skills can be used in all aspects of schools. And that's, you know, with a bit of guidance. We're not saying you can, you know, go off on your own and do it. With a bit of guidance and a bit of support, you know, any teacher can deliver in this way. Definitely.
Yeah. No, I think it, like I say, it's opened my eyes to the way I would deliver it in the future. And before speaking to you, I don't think I'd deliver a drama lesson. I'd probably try and be like Steven Spielberg and try and get a full film out of it, and it'd be all sorts going on. But no, well, thank you. I think that's been really good. I've learned a lot myself. What we'll do is we'll put a link into your website, so anyone who wants to find out more can go straight to your website. Like I say, I can vouch just from speaking to you to how much I've learned. So I'm sure, you know, going into schools would be absolutely invaluable. So thank you for joining us today. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.